In yesterday's video, I played this Rush Warrior list here on the far right, but I ended up making a couple pretty serious changes to try out a couple new things. So the first thing to talk about is I dropped all the 2-drops to put in Kaliseth. The reason to do that is that Kaliseth is broken and the other 2-drops are not. Pretty straightforward. It also opens up some deck slots so I can try out an Undasta package. The appeal of playing Undasta in this deck is it's a rush minion, so you can pull it off Town Crier, and it has two-way synergy with Akali the Rhino. Either Akali draws Undasta, or Undasta can pull Akali out of your hand. And since we're a rush deck, we can also play Amani Warbear, another rush beast minion that has some synergy. And I round out my Undasta package with a copy of King Mosh. King Mosh, big beast, pretty good effect, seems reasonable enough. To go along with those changes, a couple more things happened. I ended up cutting the Mojo Master Zihi because my curve went up by quite a bit with 2 Warbears, King Mosh, and Undasta. And I added 2 copies of Serenite Chain Gang, because if your deck has Prince Kaliseth, it should probably be playing 2 copies of Serenite Chain Gang. Other than that though, we're still Rush Warrior, so let's take it for a spin and see how it compares to the first version. Hey, I drew Kaliseth. Probably try to find a 1-drop to come down before it, or just a better 3 than Rabid Worgen. So there's the 1. Definitely a better turn 1 than Spirit of the Rhino. So Secret Plan means Spell Hunter, right? None of the other hunters have room for that card. I think I'm just gonna pass. There's not really much payoff for me hitting into this secret. If it's Wandering Monster, I might lose 2 things and not kill it, which would be a huge bummer. Getting flanked here is also kind of a bummer, though. Hopefully Town Crier gives me something good. Missed 3 damage. Oh, that's fine. I'm gonna go ahead and play this Spirit, because I'm gonna play Darius next turn, and I want him to be immune. If there's a freezing trap here, I'm gonna be in a lot of trouble. Definitely don't mind seeing that. So if Darius is immune, I guess I'm just supposed to kill the bigger one. It also forces him to use the Candle Shot if he wants to kill off the Spirit. And there is definitely value for me in the Spirit living since I picked up this thing. Alright, force this out of him. Probably just send Darius over the 2/4. I could have sent this into Leok and Darius into one of the 3/3s. This would have had 4 health, but it still would die to the Candle Shot plus the Wolf. So he can send both into Darius, or just one into the Militia Commander. So Militia Commander and Chain Gang are actually both pretty good here. Militia Commander is going to leave me with, what, a 3/4? I can either have one 3/4 and he has no Leok, or I can have 2 3/4s and he has a Leok. I think no Leok is better. It's fairly close though, since Leok doesn't contest the Chain Gang. So this Grommash is not Kaliseth buffed. King Mosh is. I think I like Frothing plus Chain Gang here. I guess I'd rather the smaller one get frozen if it's going to happen to one of them. Although this attack is better against Venom Strike. So if I do this and it's Venom Strike, I lose both of my guys. He has 2 3/3s against Chain Gang Frothing. If I do this and it's Venom Strike, I have like an extra 3/1. Alright, I guess I hit with this one. Okay, it just wasn't an important secret. So what does that make it? Probably like wandering or explosive. So he still can't quite get through both of the chain gangs. Is he putting them into explosive range, I guess? It's pretty annoying. Oh, Fungal Mancer is so good against explosive trap. This might just be lethal. I think Fungal is more likely to be lethal than Gromish. Oh shit, that could have been really bad for me. Well, Keliseth put in a disgusting amount of work this game. Particularly on Militia Commander, that card is really good when it leaves behind a 3-power minion instead of a 2-power minion. Probably another APM Priest. I can keep Mukla in this matchup. Still have one more turn to top deck Kelly. What a bummer of a turn. Am I coining out Mukla? I think I am. Just gotta try to beat his ass before he can deal with Mukla. If I don't play into Mass Hysteria, can he ever deal with Mukla? I guess Mukla needs to hit him like 6 times to solo him, and he'll have Psychic Scream by then.
Get me out of here!
This banana value, though. So if I play Kor'kron, trade into the test subject, Mass Hysteria kills Mukla if it runs into both the Eternium Rover and the Kor'kron Elite, which I believe happens 2/3 of the time, if my quick maths are correct. So fuck it, I'm not gonna play Kor'kron.
Come dance to my song.
This Mukla is going face every turn. I can play Fungal on the Mukla, because the Fungal Mancer's not going to challenge a 7/6. This thing's going to be pretty big, so I'm probably just going to ignore it. I can actually kill it with Rabid Worgen, but what if I just Fungal my guy? 7/6. This plus Fungal Mancer goes in, it still doesn't die. If I hit with Blood Razor, it does, but I guess I can just not hit with Blood Razor. That's the thing. 7 damage. He heals to 13. I have Blood Razor, Kor'kron, King Mukla next turn for 13. Okay, Spirit Lash Mass Hysteria will kill. Looks like he's not gonna play the Mass Hysteria though. Or is he? What is the math on this? I think it was 2 out of 3 to clear there. Do I want to just play a 5/7? Kinda want to land this Fungal Mancer next turn. I was probably supposed to play Korkron instead of one of these. Baited. Next turn can be Korkron plus Fungal Mancer. I believe the combo is 7 cards and he only has 6 in his hand. Plus I've seen a test subject already.
Get me out of here!
He's at 18. I have 7. 15, I believe. Well, let's force him to have another removal.
It is finished.
Oh, I won! Fuck yeah, Mukla, let's go.
Versus Uther. I will fight with honor. Victory or death.
So, Town Crier, Changang's okay, but not good enough to keep, I don't think. Not against Paladin when I have such good cards like Blood Razor.
None will survive. The light dims, but we fight.
That is not a good thing to draw off of the Town Crier.
Speak your peace.
The light dims, but we fight.
Rabid Worgen. Probably rather lead with Frothing because it has more health.
Reporting for duty.
Blood Razor is definitely good, but we'll do this to not make him suspicious.
Reporting for duty.
Speak your peace.
So even if he trades into my guy, Blood Razor is just a clear here. Oh my god, this Blood Razor is sick. My opponent apparently started playing in Witchwood and has never seen a warrior deck without Baku in it, so he's not familiar with card Blood Razor.
Reporting for duty.
So do I want to pop my Blood Razor here? Probably not. He can play Level Up or Fungal Mancer here, which is a bummer. But I'd rather clear next turn, going into the turn where he can go Hero Power plus Fungal Mancer, or more importantly, Level Up. So here I will use my weapon. I don't have to. I can just play this instead. The weapon is really, really good in this matchup.
Defend the gates. To me.
What am I worried about? I can put this to 1 health or 2 health. Putting it on 1 is probably fine, because his answer to it is probably like a Vine Cleaver or the other weapon. Something that does more than 1 damage. It is a little weird with the Blood Razor in play, setting one of my things to 1 health. But I think there's a good chance I'm holding this Blood Razor for a couple more turns at least. I'm gonna go Chain Gang over Fungalmancer because I like it when my odd Paladin opponent doesn't have a board. Might have been able to push enough damage to set up lethal with Grommash Bloodraiser next turn, but I don't want to lethal him. I want to play Undasta on turn 9.
Reporting for duty.
What rush minions do I have left in the deck? 2 bears, Ziliax, Darius, and a Rabid Worgen. Okay, so now the Akali is 50-50 to hit a Warbear to pull off of the Undasta. So I could just play Akali here. I feel like it looks so much better if Undasta pulls Akali, though. Alright, let's go Bloodraiser here. So the downside of using Fungalmancer Bloodraiser here is that the opponent might concede this turn before I get to go Undasta Akali, because my board is really good. Maybe I was supposed to like trade my 2/1 Chain Gang into a recruit or something. Then the opponent would have stuck around more likely. It looks like he's still in my game though, so that's good. Okay, Arcane Intellect. So I've got 2, 4, 6, 9, 13 damage. Thank God it's not lethal. If it was lethal, I couldn't have done this. So I have a 3-mana 8/8 in my hand. Pairs quite nicely with the Darius Crowley.
Reporting for duty.
Almost stabilized. So, shout out to Bloodraiser. Across multiple versions of this deck, I played about 20 games with Rush Warrior, and I came away with a couple strong opinions. I think Kaliseth is definitely the way to go in the deck. The Red Band Wasps actually felt pretty decent, I would say, but the weapon and the Vicious Scalehide did not feel good, so it's kind of a competition between 2 Wasps and 1 Kaliseth. And even though I like the Wasps, I think the Kaliseth does come out on top. Something else I noticed is that the Undasta package is not good in this deck at all. Rush Warrior as an archetype tends to succeed in board-focused matchups, where things like trading on turns 2, 3, 4 actually matter. So by the time you get to Undasta, it's not relevant in your good matchups. And against like Shutterwalk Shaman and APM Priest and all those kinds of decks that you have terrible matchups against, Undasta doesn't actually do anything on turn 9. Like, you put a couple things in play, and then they just get Psychic Screamed, or Hunter's Marked, or something like that. It's just not useful in this kind of deck. I guess I should talk about the other new cards that made it into the deck, Akali and the Spirit. I felt like the Spirit was very okay, but it was pretty situational, and I often found myself having a 0-3 in my hand with no rush minions in sight. So even though I think it's alright, I think it's probably not worth playing in the deck. And just as I had been told, Akali the Rhino actually felt pretty good. Giving any rush minion in the game +5/+5 is pretty freaking insane. It's not always easy to overkill with this thing on turn 8, but you have things like Bloodraiser and just minions laying around on the board that can help you hit the overkill threshold. So I was able to draw a card with it pretty much every time I needed to play it. So let's see, cards I didn't like, 2 Warbears, King Mosh. King Mosh was actually okay, independent of Undasta, but I don't think it warrants a deck slot. And then I can see cutting the Spirits. So from here, I think I probably want that other Militia Commander. Militia Commander felt really good with the Kaliseth buff, and it just seems generally like a pretty good card in this deck. I kind of felt like I wouldn't mind having another 1-drop, so I think Firefly probably makes a lot of sense. I don't know if I want to play 2, but it seems pretty reasonable. I can definitely see putting a couple copies of Dynamatic back in the deck. It's just like one of the best warrior cards. You should probably play it if you can. And maybe try out like a Soulthraze or something. I played this card in a few decks and it actually feels relatively powerful. I've seen lists that play Countess Ashmore, which generally I just don't think is a good card, so I don't want to put it in my deck. I've also seen Lich King, but I don't really feel like I want a 4th 8-drop, but maybe it's correct. I can definitely see wanting to get another 3-drop in here over one of the Fireflies or the Soulthraze. But I browsed the 3-drops earlier and was really unimpressed with pretty much all of them. Like maybe you can play an Acolyte of Pain, it's probably a little bit low pressure for a deck like this. I think the next closest one I was thinking about adding was the Ornery Tortoise. So maybe like cut a Firefly for a Tortoise or something. You could also play Vicious Fledgling and try to cheese out some wins with the Fledgling. But I kind of want my minions to have more stats in this deck, I think. But cheesing out free wins is always nice. And I think the only other 3-drop I was really considering was maybe a Tar Creeper. Tar Creeper could definitely make some sense in this Tortoise slot. Or maybe 2 copies even over the Mukla as well. And actually one last thing to consider is putting the Mojo Master Zihi back in the deck. I cut it because I was playing Undasta and the Warbears and all that stuff. But now that I cut those back out, maybe the Mojo Master makes some sense instead of the Soulthraze. I think either one is worth trying out. But quickly to recap things, Keleseth good, Undasta bad, Akali good, Spirit bad. Try to queue into Paladins, don't queue into APM Priest or Shutterwalk Shaman. And at the end of the day, I'd say Rush Warrior is probably a fairly respectable deck.